president is doing right now is unbelievably important. He is masterfully navigating a thin and narrow line between a radical far right that is demanding that the U.S. drop Israel, and then the Israelis who are demanding that America fully join the offensive effort against Iran. The president is saying no to both of those things. He has a very clear idea of what it means to be America first, peace through strength. We are going to defensively assist our ally Israel in supporting it, in protecting its citizens, but we are not going to war because this president won the election, because the American people are sick of forever wars, and he's going to keep that promise. This moment, we're going to look back on this and say this was masterfully done, and I cannot point to another person on this planet who could have done such a good job walking this narrow line, America first, while supporting our allies. And the American people are deeply Zionist. They are deeply pro-Israel. They have a love of the Jewish people. And
what's going on, everyone? You guys know that I talk about how this channel is suited on America first. I want to talk about things that, is in the best interest of American people, or at least that I believe is in the best interest of American people. And this war here, you see Batia, she's one of my favorite people that I like to use as a reference. I know she's very pro-Israel. Me, I consider myself neutral. Like, to me, it's like, okay, you give me justification, I'll go along with it. But I'm not like worshiping these people. And sometimes some of the talks, some of the ways, they talk about Israel, it's almost like you're worshiping a group of people, right? And I was taught not to worship any man, right? Or any country, right? That's just how I was taught, right? But we will have peace. Trump issued statements on Iran and Israel amid hostilities, right? President Donald Trump issued a statement on Sunday calling for Iran and Israel to make a deal that would put an end to the hostilities between the two Middle Eastern nations. Both the U.S. and Israel has been adamant that such a deal cannot include Iran to continue pursuing nuclear capabilities. And this is some of the justifications that's being used on Israel's part to essentially disarm, attack, and dismantle Iran. Now, I understand the fears. Israel wants to maintain its leverage. Sorry, look, from an American point of view, right? I don't have any personal ties to Israel or the Middle East, so I believe, because I don't have any personal ties to these two nations warring, I believe I can give the most objective kind of perspective on it as solely an American. Like, my only nationality is American. I see this as a way, Israel just wants to maintain its political leverage, because end of the day, if Iran ever gains the ability to have nuclear warheads, yes, number one, they could use it they might be crazy enough to use it and start World War III. Yeah, I know all that jazz. Yeah. But second, it gives Israel less political leverage in the Middle East. Because right now, if you would ask who's one of the more powerful countries in the Middle East, many people will say Israel. But that's because I believe Israel has nuclear capabilities, if I remember correctly, but they're also backed by the U.S. But if Iran has nukes, it makes it a lot harder for Israel to do some of the tactics that they have done in the past to, like, Libya and these other Middle Eastern countries, by blowing up pagers and doing all these tactical strikes. I'm just saying, from a political point of view, I can see why Israel don't want Iran to ever have nukes. Right. And this is something that if you look back far enough in history, you can find kind of a trail. And this is what's breeding dissent. Right. If you're a pro-Israel person and you want to understand why many people are starting to, not get tired of Israel, but more inclined to be like, OK, Israel looks like they're starting a bunch of ish and America better not be involved in it. Defensively, yes, you're an ally. We're supposed to protect you. Fine. Whatever agreement we had, whatever. But this is not helping people come around to supporting Israel, is because many people are seeing this as many people are seeing Israel use this as the boy who cried wolf. Because there's a track record. If you've been around long enough, right? And this is a video from Glenn Greenwald. I think it encapsulates some of the concerns I have about the Israeli government constantly using the threat of a nuclear weapon of mass destruction, aka Iraq 2.0. And some conservatives are out here trying to say it's not Iraq 2.0, but Americans have this sneaking suspicion because of the track record of Netanyahu And I'll send a clip here. This is from Glenn Greenwald, and I think that it's some evidence or some kind of information that I believe that many Americans should be aware of. Let's take a look.
Through 15 minutes of news articles going back many, many years, where we were told and the Israelis were warning that the Iranians were like seconds away from getting a nuclear bomb. We had no choice but to attack because they're about to get one. But I didn't realize how far back even then that it went. Here from the United Press International, which used to be the big wire service along with AP, is April 24th, 1984. The Ayatollah bomb is in production for Iran. That's the headline. Quote, Iran is moving, quote, very quickly toward production of a nuclear bomb and could have such a weapon within 2 years, the authoritative Jane's Defense Weekly reported today. Jane's quoted news reports as saying production on Iranian nuclear, Ayatollah Khomeini's nuclear bomb was, quote, entering its final stages, and that construction would follow completion of a nuclear power plant being built with the help of West German experts. Jane's weekly editor, Robert Hutchinson, said although the report originated with the Arabian Gulf Press, quote, we checked it out and it seems to stand up. The indications are that the Iranians are moving that way and moving that way very quickly. That's 1984, 5 years after the Iranian Revolution. So that's basically 40 years ago, a little bit over 40 years ago. Here from Ynet News, which is part of the Israeli press. This is April of 2015. This is from a 1992 article in Hebrew that Ynet republished. Here's the headline. Netanyahu in 1993 says this, Iran will have a bomb by 1999. The prime minister has been warning for over 20 years that Tehran is close to achieving its pursuit of nuclear weapons. Quote, the most dangerous threat to Iran's existence, to Israel's existence, does not lie in the Arab countries, but in Iran. Then MK, member of parliament, Benjamin Netanyahu wrote in a column in February 1993, quote, the rulers of Iran have said repeatedly that they will have an Islamic bomb and that its first target will be Israel. He argued in a piece titled, quote, the greatest danger, claiming that Iran will develop its first nuclear bomb by 1999, which at the time this report was 16 years ago. It's now 26 years ago, and it didn't happen. Netanyahu, who served as a member of the Knesset at the time, wrote about the Iranian regime 22 years ago, saying that, quote, it is our duty to make sure in advance that the regime will not obtain the tools necessary to realize its aspirations.
So, as you saw from the clip, some of my concerns is that I don't want to start something off of false pretenses, off of a narrative, off of something that may be nothing more than an exaggeration, right? And some of the things, this is more on the libertarian side on the right? The right is very politically diverse, right? This is what happens when you have a Big Tent movement, but I think I love it. I love this kind of discussion going on because it really makes sure, and it hones down the bolts, the nuts and bolts of what exactly we're getting ourselves into or what we're not getting ourselves into. And right now, I think many Americans believe that the best compromise is, hey, Israel will sell you our weapons, whatever, but this is on you. Like, you have to handle it on your own. We don't have to get involved. And many people are coming around to it. Bill Ackman is coming around and saying, hey, maybe U.S. don't have to get involved with Israel because Israel is holding its own. And we're like, hey, I'm fine with that. I'm saying, hey, look, I'm neutral. I don't really care. Like, I don't want us involved because I think we've been involved in too many things. I think America can take a little break. We can exercise some soft power, like influence power. We don't need to do like, oh, let's put boots on the ground. We don't need to do all that. We can influence soft power. Hey, maybe Trump greenlight the Rising Lion. Maybe he didn't. It doesn't matter. But when Netanyahu, there's some suspicions around him from the American point of view. They're again doubling down on the claim that Iran was behind both attempts at Donald Trump's life. If you research either attack, you already know how much of an absurd lie that is. And this is some of the things that, many concerns some Americans have. Iran can't even get their ish together long enough to build a nuke, and you expect me to believe they masterminded this? Not one, but two attempts on the life of the leader of the free world in a matter of months? You might call me a conspiracy theorist, but you've seen the reporting from Glenn Greenwald. This stuff been said about Iran since 1964. 32 years before I was even born. They've been talking about Iran having nuclear capabilities. He'll have nuclear capabilities by 1999. And some people are seeing this as a way of Israel trying to essentially take over Iran or dismantle Iran. Who knows? Essentially doing what we usually do. We come in, take out the leader, and then we install a regime that's like beneficial politically to us. I believe in some ways Israel's trying to do the same thing with Iran, right? So, Glenn Beck attempts to explain why Iran war is not like the Iraq war. His reasons are that people of Iran are ready for a regime change and desire freedom. Also, the Iranian government is simply uniquely evil and wishes to kill all humanity for their evil religion, right? I'm just telling you some of the sentiments of some people, because politically I understand. Like, I understand why Israel's doing what they're doing, right? They believe, hey, you're a political threat, also a national threat. You might wipe us out, right? You've been funding terrorism in the background. I understand all that. Like I said, I'm not anti-Israel, but I'm not pro-Israel either. I'm not worshiping these people. Like, end of the day, your country, you started a war, finish your fight. That's your fight. That's not our fight. Oh, you want us to sell weapons to you? Sure, I'll sell it. We'll settle to you. But us actively, we're gonna just give you foreign aid and all. Like, I need some justification for that. All right. And I think I want to play a video of an interview in 2012, right? Because I want to go on, some statements 12, almost 13 years back. We're going 13 years back in the past, right? I love going back in the time and see what people were saying years before we even dealing with this. Because right now, when you talk about Israel, it's an emotional topic for certain people. It's not for me, but it's for certain people. It's a very emotional topic, whether they're anti or pro, right? They all want to create their little narratives to push a proper. I don't care. I don't want America involved. That's all I care about. I don't want an American involved. I think we spend enough tax dollars. I think they're good. Hey, we can support them. Hey, if they're defending themselves and it's a defensive effort, of course, we got you. You're our ally. We have a partnership, whatever. We get, hopefully it's mutually beneficial. I haven't done enough research, but I'm pretty sure it's mutually beneficial. If, the Israel government has so much support from our government officials, or maybe they're just getting paid off. I don't know, right? But this topic here was discussed in 2012. And from a political sense, I can understand why Israel feels so threatened by Iran, how they don't want these people to get nuclear capabilities, right? They could be, worst case scenario, they'll immediately use it to destroy all of us, right? Second thing, right? If they're more reasonable, or they surprise us, they'll have leverage. They'll have a certain amount of leverage where we'll essentially have to treat them like North Korea. Okay, we don't like what they're doing, but at the same time, we can't outwardly disrespect them, right? Because some of the things Israel just did to Iran, disrespectful, bro. Like, they making Iran look like a paper tiger right now in Israel, right? You can't do that to North Korea. Even though North Korea, there's propaganda 24/7. People don't like living in North Korea. U.S. can't just, boots on the ground, or the U.S. can't just go in there and just do tactical airstrikes on North Korea, because they know North Korea can retaliate with a nuke. They don't want Iran to have that capability because it gives Iran more political power in the geopolitical sphere. This is what Israel's trying to prevent, because Israel's trying to maintain its position as one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful country in the Middle East. That's what Israel's trying to preserve. So from a political sense, I understand what they're trying to do, but I digress. I think I rambled enough. I want to play this video, and then I'll wrap up with my final thoughts.
They are.
I think they've been set up, and I think they know where they are.
Okay.
But the problem with here is the Israelis. Now, the Israelis are fearful that Iran will and is developing a capability which could translate down the road into building a bomb. And there's no doubt that is true. And they want, but they can't take out all these plants. And there's an element of absurdity to bombing plants where the IAEA inspectors have all the uranium under seal. And so I think the Israelis are in a hellish situation. What they want to do, I think, is make an attempt, or making some kind of attempt, get the United States, which could do the job, get the United States to do a shock and awe on Iran like we did on Iraq, and us fight that war. But
No. This was 12 years ago, guys. We're in 2025. Doesn't this seem like this is the, I'm telling you. And when people try to call you an anti-Semite, when people try to call you a sexist or a racist for pointing out something that you observing, You're observing a pattern, right? These people are trying to gaslight you not to think. They're trying to police your thoughts. Remember, Michael Knowles released a book, Control Your Words, Control Your Thoughts. So if they can censor your voice to not point out these things, you'll fall right hook, line, and sinker. Yes, let's support the war, but this is something that benefits Israel solely politically at our expense. This is where I'm talking about when I'm American first. Is this what benefit it is for the United States? Oh, we take out a threat. No, Iran's more of a threat to Israel than it is to America. Now, Israel, you're our ally, sure. You trade information with us. You give us a presence in the Middle East, right? I like it. But you essentially, in this case, you can make the argument that Israel, in a very passive way, is trying to goat Iran to either attack US and then we have to retaliate, or get the US to do the work that it cannot do. As much as people are praising Israel, oh yeah, go Israel. Oh, Israel did all these tactical strikes. They don't have enough to do what we can do. And they're trying to use us almost like a pawn in their little game of dominating the Middle East. That's how I see it as an American first individual. I don't have I'm not a dual national. I have no foreign ties to any other country. This is my only country. United States of America, red, white, and blue. This is my only country. And that's how I see it. This was made 13 years ago. Look at 2025. So you can't say this guy's biased. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He said this in 2012. Let's go back.
All on Iran like we did on Iraq, and us fight that war. But our guys think, correctly I think, that's not in the interest of the United States, because that whole place, that whole region could go up in a Sunni-Shia battle of all against all. And Americans could be killed in Lebanon by Hezbollah. They could be killed in Afghanistan by Iranians. So our people are looking out for our interests, and the Israelis are looking out for their interests. And the point here is, unlike what Governor Romney said, the interests of Israel are here and the interests of the United States are here. And that is the problem you're getting with Netanyahu coming here to talk to Obama. And I happen on this one to agree with the Joint Chiefs and Panetta and President Obama if he's reluctant to take us to war.
Okay.
This is not an endorsement.
Israel.
And essentially, Trump is trying to walk that fine line. That's why I open up with Batia. Batia she calls herself the mega leftist. She's obviously pro-Israel, but even she can see American population, they're not in a mood for the U.S. to be involved in any shape or form. But Israel knows they don't have the capability to actually get the outcome that they actually want by themselves. So I see this as some type of like a political game being played right now. Trump's calling for peace. Trump don't want to be involved. But then you see all these people who are very pro-Israel talking about, oh, we can't make a deal with Iran. We don't need to make a deal with Iran, because they're only looking at it what's in the best interest of Israel and pretending that it's also in the best interest of America. No, it's not. If I take morality, this is why I say I do this all the time with politics. I take morality, all this virtue signaling crap that both sides do. I take it all out. I just look at it from a political, pragmatic point of view. Hey, is this in our best interest? No, it isn't. It benefits Israel more than it benefits us. Is Israel paying us? No. Hey, we'll give you $15 billion or $1 trillion of our economy over 20 years if you help us with this war, Israel. Okay, maybe we'll think about it. But at the end of the day, like, we have our own problems to deal with here at home. And I think adding this as another thing that we need to worry about is not helping. And I think this is why Americans are not in an appetite for war right now. But Trump has to leave it open, because at the end of the day, this is Israel is our ally. This is all politics being played right now. 2012. And it looks exactly what's going on right now in 2025. I'll continue. I don't want to speak over this video.
Israel is and should be an ally, but they have their interests and we have ours, and they do not always coincide exactly.
That's going to
Correct?
get you in trouble if you make a statement like that,
I'm
Peter.
summing up Patrick J. Buchanan.
That's
No.
exactly right.
Okay.
I mean, the Israelis they have their own interests in the region. They're much more narrow than ours, because the United States remains a world power. Look, my uncle fought in North Africa, and the Arabs were very, very friendly. And you have Arabs and Muslims, 1.5 billion Muslims, over 300 million Arabs. we have to have, as a great power and a world power, we want good relations with all of those folks. And the American people deeply admire and like Israel. You want good relations with them. But we have different and broader interests than the Israelis do. And often our interests collide. And when they do, you need people who will stand up for the United States, even if it means taking a certain amount of hits in American society.
This is what I'm talking about. That's that audience, the older conservatives, the old guard conservatives. They like foreign intervention. They like to be in part of the action because there's another benefit for them. You know, contract companies, they get involvement, they get their war, they like to expand. You know, they want the regime change. They like all that stuff, right? I'm just saying, all these interests. Isn't that no morality here? Morality is just used as a justification to make your choices reasonable to the American people. Oh no, Israel, Iran sent 2 assassination attempts at Donald Trump's life. I know they sent They had, like, you know, there was rumors that they were sending assassins at Donald Trump's life, but the 2 that were happening, it was done by like Democrat propaganda essentially. That, and then you try to give credit to Iran to justify her. You should be involved, Trump. You should be involved. And it's like Trump's not falling for the bait. But I think, you know, as a mass, as an American people, this is why I said that nationalism is important, right? Certain things I respect about the Israel is that how much love, respect, and loyalty they have to the Jewish state, Israel. And I want that same kind of culture here in the United States for our country. And if I operate, right, as the Jewish people in Israel operate, I want America to look out for its own interests and the interests of its people. Is it in the interest of American people to go along with this war? No, it's not. We have our own problems. We got an open border. We had an open border a couple years ago, but we don't know if foreign actors, right? We had Chinese spies coming through the country. We don't know what's in our country right now. And we need to worry about what's going on with ourselves first before we go out and try to help another country do their little political expansionism. Who knows? I don't know what it is. Maybe people make claims about Gaza, like, they're doing this to try to push these people out. I don't know. At the end of the day, that's too far outside of my purview to care about. But when you talking about involving America in this mess, Americans don't want to spend another single dime on none of this stuff. Because the famous meme once says, somehow my tax dollars, Iran sending missiles because, you know, Obama let them have oil money or something back, I forget. And also our tax dollars, the Iron Dome and infiltrating and intercepting these missiles being launched at Israel. Americans are just tired. Americans are just very weary. I already told you. And if you're new to this channel or you heard me make this statement before, one of the reasons Donald Trump got into office is that many people, many Americans, the taxpayers here in America, felt taken advantage of. And some of the stuff I'm seeing, you know, the history of Netanyahu making all these fear-mongering statements about Iran nuclear war, it seems more like I'm trying to justify my actions. Go along with me. And Americans see that, oh, you're trying to take advantage of us. Oh, you're trying to get us. You're trying to dupe us. And America don't want to be duped into Iraq 2.0. That's the video. That's the summary. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll be interested in your thoughts and your perspective on this matter. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Please share this video if you feel so inclined. I would like to hear your thoughts in the comment section. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.